If you are planning home renovations anytime soon, you're probably going to have to make a little bit more room, actually, a lot more room in your budget. The price of lumber has skyrocketed over the past few months. Lumber mills right across the country struggling to keep up with the increased demand. With us this morning is Ian Dunn. He's the president of the Ontario Forest Industries Association. Good to have you with us this morning.
Good morning.
The price of lumber has increased roughly 170% in the last 6 months alone. And just to put a more direct figure on that, a spruce pine 2x4 was selling for $11. It would now be $35 for a square foot. I mean, that is a huge increase. What is driving this price so high?
So, Anne Marie, it's a great question. It's a question that I'm being asked quite regularly these days. So, lumber is ultimately a commodity, and it responds to commodity type pricing. So, supply and demand is really driving this. On the supply side of things, last year around this time, we didn't really know what the impacts of the pandemic were going to have on this industry. And as a result of the health and safety concerns, we scaled back operations in the mills. There was fewer people working the mills, and that's contributed to a bit of a supply gap that we continue to see today. Now, on the demand side, which I think it probably explains more of the pricing that we're seeing, in particular, most recently, which you've mentioned, Anne Marie, the renovation market is very strong. People are working at home, thinking, this is a great time to put in a new deck, a new fence. And home buying in general is doing quite well, and actually better in some situations than we might expect under normal situations. So, these two things are certainly playing a big factor. And I think there's a third element here as well that a lot of people haven't reported. Consumers have realized that forest products are really critical to a sustainable bioeconomy. And there's a really good sustainability story here in terms of low carbon, renewable, and sustainable forest products.
Yeah, I'm seeing some of that in the signage behind you, local, renewable, and sustainable. Just across the country, to give people a better idea, there are mills. 30% of lumber in Canada is in BC, 28% in Quebec, 21% in Ontario. How difficult is it for lumber mills to keep up with this demand? We've seen like a 40% increase in just home renovation alone.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line here is you can't really just flip a switch to increase lumber production here in Ontario. There's two things that need to be in place. First of all, there needs to be a supply of the raw material, the timber. And we're very fortunate here in Ontario. We have a healthy, abundant, and productive crown forest that provides timber to our mills. But again, it takes time. You cannot just change forest management planning direction in the province. The second element here is capacity at the mills. So we are seeing more and increased investment in our facilities in Ontario specifically. But again, it takes time. It can take months to years to install this equipment, but ultimately capacity will increase and we will see an easing of prices over time.
Okay, time brings me to my next question. Just to give a real life example, let's look at building a 200 square foot deck compared to a year ago. So assuming 200 or 2,400 feet of board were needed, materials would have cost you less than $1,000 last year. Now you can expect to pay $3,700. How long will these prices, are they expected to last? Are they going to come down?
I mean, and Marie, it'd be great to have a crystal ball, wouldn't it? I mean, it's very, very difficult to say how long these prices will last. Inventories of homes remains quite low, so that would indicate to us that the demand is going to continue to be there for quite some time. I'm not going to hazard a guess at how long it's going to last, but I would say for the foreseeable future, consumers can expect high prices. However, as I mentioned, mills are going to ramp up their production, and we will see an easing of prices over time.
That is good to hear, but not such great news for anybody like me who waited a little too long to start the renovation. Thanks so much, Ian.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.